Hi, I'm Rick Williams. I work for International Paper as the digital print expert. Well, the reason we've developed and we have invested so much money into digital paper is about 8 years ago when I started working for the commercial printing business, I had seen the writing on the wall where inkjet was starting to sort of come into its own. And so at that point, I said to the business, you need an inkjet printable paper. We have developed a lot of digital papers to meet a market need. You know, when we first started this, it was slow, but it has really grown exponentially over the last 8 years to the point where we have made the right choice in moving into the digital business and developing the papers that we did. These papers are developed to meet a need on those presses. A print provider can print on plain paper, and believe me, we have a lot of plain paper going through an inkjet press. There's no doubt about it. Transactional, single color, spot color, a lot of it is being used on plain paper. But it's when you want the high end, when you want the color, when you want the pop, when you want the clarity, when you want that deep, rich color, that look, you've got to use a treated sheet. You aren't going to get it on a standard sheet of paper. Paper is porous, and so the ink will dive into the sheet unless you treat it. In a treated sheet, we keep that ink on the surface. In an untreated sheet, it gets sucked into the sheet. You look at the overall market for digital print, it is easily growing double digits year over year. So we don't look for that to stop through 2020, 2021. If you look at most of the numbers that are being put out by companies like InfoTrends, IT Strategies, they're all saying the same thing, that we will see double-digit growth through 2021, and I believe you're going to see it beyond that. It is in its infancy still, whatever way you look at it. I believe we'll see growth in Indigo just because of the new presses that Indigo's been bringing out. They've brought out the 10,000, the 12,000. We've also seen packaging with the 20 and 30,000. And they brought out the 50,000, which is a roll-fed Indigo that literally treats the paper as it goes through. So I do see growth in Indigo. I don't think we'll see the amount of growth in Indigo that we'll see in inkjet. Offset and digital, my overall opinion, and this is my opinion as a digital print expert, what I see is offset will eventually level off, and so will digital. So offset will never fully go away, because no matter what way you look at it, if it's a high-selling book, like a Harry Potter book or something like that, it's going to sell so many copies that the cheapest way to print it is offset. Where it's the secondary prints and the third prints that you have of that book that fit back into the digital market because they're smaller runs. But large run products that are all the same, there's still no cheaper way to do it than an offset press. And the reason digital print's growing faster and offset's declining is due to personalization. If you look at personalization today, we see major growth there. What we find is, in looking at direct mail, looking at a lot of stuff that's being sent in the mail, there's been a lot of studies done on the fact that in that situation, a personalized piece will give you more response rate than just a standard piece. So if something comes to you stating, Rick Williams, look at what the offer is we have for you, I'm going to give that piece more time than if it just came to an occupant, I'd probably throw it away. So that's where I see the growth in digital. My main focus, or what I feel the main focus is going to be in the future, is packaging. I've already seen some presses coming out with packaging. I do know there are presses coming out that will run up to a 24-point board on an inkjet press. So I do believe packaging is the OEM's next foray into the marketplace. The other trend that we see is going to near offset. So what we see is B2 sizes coming on board. They're trying to attack the Indigo market with an inkjet sheet. So we do see this moving forward. We already have one of those in the market. That is the Brenva from Xerox. It will run a large sheet, almost half B2 size. So What we see is that moving forward as far as offset, half offset size sheets to try to tackle the offset market as well as tackle the indigo market. Canon's new press will run greater than a B2 size to again attack that market. The other thing we see a lot of movement in is implant. You know, for years the implant started farming everything out. They didn't want an implant, so they'd send it here to be printed, there to be folded and put in the inserters, and then to another mail house to mail it. All right, what they found is with inkjet presses, they're able to do it all in-house again, and they can pull it all back inside. So we see a major movement back to implant, mainly in the insurance industry. We see it a lot in like State Farm Farmers is all pulling their stuff back in-house again. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of too, with so many breaches of data today, that if our data doesn't have to be released and we can keep our data in-house, we have better control over it. Mainly what we see movement towards is lightweight, where, you know, as International Paper, we can only go so light. We're down to about a 35 pound. The thing I have the most concern on a lightweight is show through. In inkjet, it's really tough on a lightweight sheet to not get rid of show through. All right, there's not enough fiber to really be able to not see through the sheet. The only way we do that is by making sheets that have other stuff in it, like a titanium dioxide, or something that will refract the light away, giving you a better show through. And most mills don't want to run it, and it's very costly. My degree is in chemistry, so I have a master's in chemistry. When I started International Paper, I worked in a dioxin lab and I did dioxin analysis. 4 years into that, I got bored, decided I wanted to do something else. So they asked me what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to do process development or product development. And I determined that I really I love developing products, so I took the product development route. Everything I've learned, literally in the paper industry, I've learned by doing. Working at the mills, developing new products, figuring out how paper machines worked, figuring out how everything worked from the wood yard to the pulping, through the machine, through the bleaching. I've learned all that on the job in my career, to the point where when it came down to developing a digital paper, I had the background at that point to be able to know what to do and utilize actually a product that we already made and using that technology and transferring that technology into the high-speed inkjet business.